Since the 15th century, when the ballad A Little Guest of Robin Hood entered into the annals of history, there have been a lot of adaptations and interpretations of the classic tale of Robin Hood the roguish outlaw, who famously stole from the rich and gave to the poor. The newest addition to the lengthy list is MGM Plus's new Robin Hood series, which manages to balance catering to a modern audience while staying remarkably true to the canon of the legend. The adaptation also comes at a time when the streamer is in sore need of a replacement for its three-season sleeper hit Billy the Kid, which embraces some of the same themes. Namely, Robin Hood is a coming-of-age story centered around an outlaw who also happens to be one half of a sweeping romance. While there have been a handful of Robin Hood movies in recent years, it has been nearly 2 decades since fans of the legend have been treated to a TV series about the adventures of Robin Hood and his merry men. BBC One's Robin Hood was a lot of fun, but it was also very much an example of kitschy mid-aughts storytelling and largely devoid of meaningful development for its characters, especially the women. Thankfully, MGM Plus's new series rights the wrongs of past adaptations and delivers fully formed and deeply compelling characters across the board.
Robin Hood perfectly balances a robust ensemble cast.
The first pair of episodes sets Robin Hood's titular protagonist on a hero's journey that immediately endears him to the viewer. Rob isn't the exact brand of Robin Hood we have seen with past adaptations. Showrunner John Glenn has smartly committed to the historical setting of the series, drawing upon the world events that would have been happening to and around the real Robin Hood to develop a story that shapes and informs who Rob becomes. This isn't just a story about a man who sees the injustices of the world and rises to the challenge. This is a man who has been directly impacted by the sweeping effects of the Norman Conquest on what is present-day Great Britain. Robin Hood delves deep into the direct and lasting impact of the Norman invasion, positioning Rob as a Saxon who has seen his family's lands ripped away from them, robbing them of their livelihood and heritage. This is a part of history that has often been overlooked by Hollywood, and it's fascinating to see how the legend of Robin Hood has given Glenn the perfect opportunity to explore the Saxon experience under Norman rule and the complex conflict of their politics and religion. This series strikes right at the heart of what Robin Hood means, not the man, but the myth. The legend has always been less about who the infamous outlaw might have been and more about the ethos of the movement he sparked. What might begin as a quest for personal vengeance becomes a mission that reaches far beyond Rob. It's a moral message that has often been overlooked by past adaptations in favor of the comedy of men in tights and swooning maidens. Robin Hood couldn't have come at a better time, when people are seeking their savior of the poor. Of course, no version of Robin Hood is complete without Maid Marian, and MGM Plus easily delivers the best version of her to date. Marian is the daughter of the Earl of Huntingdon, a Norman lord who occupies Rob's family home following the Norman Conquest. This plot point immediately introduces a compelling new angle to Rob and Marian's burgeoning romance and transforms them into true star-crossed lovers. While their will-they, won't-they romance is an adventure in its own right, the best part of their dynamic is the fact that Marian is a character who stands entirely on her own. She is not defined by her relationship with Rob, and in fact, some of her best moments throughout the series are where she's navigating her life on her own terms. There is a lot of depth to Robin Hood's take on Marian. Her home life is abhorrent, and her relationship with her father very much informs how she interacts with other men in her life. To an extent, Rob is a diversion, an escape from her Mormon existence, and a glimpse into a Saxon world that is just another otherness to feel magical. But the true magic in Marian's life is born at court, where she has a rare opportunity to not only raise her status, but to sharpen her skills around one of the most cunning women in history. Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine is introduced at a precarious point in her history. Fresh out of 16 years of imprisonment for supporting a revolt against her husband, King Henry II, Eleanor uses her court and those within their orbit to scheme on behalf of her sons, Prince John and Prince Richard.
Robin Hood's standout character is a brand new addition to the tale.
Much like Marian, it is impossible to tell the story of Robin Hood without introducing his perpetual adversary, the Sheriff of Nottingham. Sean Bean steps into the role with ease, and while he is a worthy foe to Rob, the first pair of episodes make it clear that he wasn't cast in Robin Hood to play a villain, but to play a father. Glenn cleverly designs a flawless foil to Marian's fraught dynamic with her father by introducing a brand new character to the story. Rather than saddling the sheriff with a son, Robin Hood gives him a daughter whom he utterly adores. Priscilla is the clear standout of Robin Hood's cast of characters. While she may be the most anachronistic aspect of the series, she is also the most entertaining. As the sheriff's only child and the apple of his eye, Priscilla has been brought up in a much closer proximity to power than the typical 12th century woman. She uses her feminine wiles to her advantage, maneuvering the men around her to ensure that she always remains in control. Her personality is night and day compared to Marian, who starts out far more simpering in comparison, but they complement each other well, and their friendship is delightful. While Robin Hood is very grounded in reality, it is, in part, through Priscilla that the series explores mystical realism. There are shades of Morgan Le Fay to Priscilla that make the potential for her arc that much more appealing.
Robin Hood could become MGM Plus's next big hit.
After watching the first 7 episodes of Robin Hood, it's clear that the series is primed to become MGM Plus's next big hit, and if the right audience seizes upon it, it could easily become the next great water cooler historical epic. Glenn has cultivated a cast of rising stars that flawlessly play off Hollywood titans like Bean and Nielsen, and assembled an impeccable team behind the camera to develop a carefully crafted 12th century world around them. From the sumptuous gowns at court that feel pulled straight from an ancient tapestry to the meticulously designed sets, there isn't a single seam that breaks the immersion. It's that level of detail, on top of the richly written scripts, that really elevates the series. 2025 has been a very good year for fans of a wide variety of historical periods, from American primeval to Chief of War, as well as House of Guinness and the upcoming Death by Lightning. Now MGM Plus has taken viewers all the way back to the 12th century and provided them with a near-perfect adaptation of one of the greatest legends to ever live. The first 2 episodes of Robin Hood debut November 2 on MGM Plus. New episodes air weekly on Sundays.